Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is your Workday Slacker, and in between a couple calls, I found some time to do a little research, find some interesting cards that I wanted to talk to you about today. So today, similar to a video we've done in the past, I've got 5 more interesting cards missing from the History Pack 1. For those of you who don't know, History Pack are the reprint sets where they make some of these older cards that might be out of print, unavailable. They make them more readily available for cheaper. So for anybody who's looking to get into the game, those are a great place to get into them. But not every card gets a reprint. What? If you're interested in what I'm talking about, you have no idea, there's another video. I'll post a link to it in the description, but let's get into it. I'm assuming that you know what the History Pack reprints are, but there are some interesting cards that are missing from those History Packs. And the first 2 that I want to talk about today are a package deal because they are both Runeblade actions. Runeblade action attack and a Runeblade non-attack action. One is the 9th Blade of the Blood Oath, and one is the Tome of the Arknight. Now, there hasn't really been a popular Runeblade that, I guess Briar is technically a Runeblade, which doesn't really play these cards as much from what I've seen. And these are really built around one hero called Viserai. If you've played any games against Viserai, I just played my first game yesterday. His whole shtick is about playing a non-attack action and an attack action. Well, basically, non-attack action and then a Runeblade card so that you can start generating these bad boys, Rune Chants. Now, if you don't know what you're doing like me, you might not get a lot of Rune Chants generated. But after getting beat down yesterday by a Viserai deck, I quickly realized that it's pretty easy to make these Rune Chant tokens. So there's some cards. These are all just from Arcane Rising. These are all cards that basically let you create Rune Chants. So, you know, for 0, you can create 3 Rune Chants right there. For 2, you can create 2 Rune Chants and attack. And then your crown will basically let you set up your deck so that you can basically draw exactly a non-attack and an attack action. Why is this relevant? Why am I telling you all this? Because these Rune Chants are really the fuel behind 2 very powerful cards. Let's start with the Tome. The Tome is a 1-cost blue pitch that lets you reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. If they are a non-attack action and an attack action, put them in your hand. So if you use this Crown of Dichotomy and you use it for sure, you're going to have the right order of cards. So for 1, you're going to draw 2. Not only that, you're also going to play a non-attack action, which basically lets you start generating more Rune Chant tokens, which will help you cast this scary, scary attack, which is a 9-cost yellow pitch. But don't look at that 9-cost, because it's actually going to cost you very little, because this costs less for each Rune Chant you control. So you're basically attacking for 9 damage, 3 block, and Lord knows how many Rune Chants you can have pretty quickly. Yesterday, you know, some decks are built around building a ton of Rune Chants and just knocking you out in 1 attack. So let's say you had, 6 Rune Chants. This only costs 3 to do 9. And then those 6 Rune Chants are also going to be coming in to do arcane damage. So I think these 2 cards are obviously very powerful, and I believe they're in pretty much every Viserai deck, at least 1 copy of this one as a finisher. And there is no white border copy of this card. So if you want this card, you're going to have to buy it from the Arcane Rising set. And those are out of print. The print numbers came back recently. They're not as high as people expected. So I definitely would keep an eye on this card. Pick up a playset if you're interested in Runeblade. It's also a good time to look at Runeblade because there hasn't been an exciting new Runeblade hero for a while. So generally that means the prices are low, the legendaries are a little bit lower. Don't wait until that comes out. If you kind of like that play pattern, that's definitely a time to buy those things. Moving on, number 3 on our list. This one is interesting. I don't think it's that good, but I do think that the fact that this only exists in the Arcane Rising set, again, Pursuit of Knowledge, It's a 2-cost attack. Now stay with me, that's relevant. And if it hits, your hero gains 1 intellect for attack. So already they're probably going to have to attack or block suboptimally. They're going to have to use a 3-block and equipment, or a defense reaction, or they're going to have to use some, 2 blocks. Now, why this 2 is interesting is because my little friend here, Pummel. Oh, hello, Pummel. Yes, here I am again. So for anybody who has been Command and Conquered pummeled, same kind of concept. I don't know how good it is. I do know that having a 5-card hand is very good. And if you have an arsenal, you get a 6-card hand. So for 4 energy or mana or whatever the hell this is called, you basically get an attack that is going to do, 6 if you're using a blue, could do upwards of, 8? And if it hits, they discard a card and you get 5 cards. I just think that's kind of cool. I don't know how good it is. People will probably be able to build around it, plan around it easily. But if people aren't expecting it, they might not expect the pummel on that. So I do think that's interesting. I think Pursuit of Knowledge is already kind of an expensive card, so you might want to grab a couple copies if you think this has any, future spice. You want to throw that in a deck. Let's move on to our last 2 for this list here. Number 4, I think this is relevant right now because this is a ninja card. It's a super rare. Again, these are all super rares, which are technically majestics because they got rid of the super rare, and any of the other super rares that have been reprinted in the history pack set, those came in as majestics. So let's just call it like we see it in the original sets. They're supers, but these are majestics. Bounding Gale. If Open the Center was the last card played, this guy here, Open the Center, Pounding Gale gains. If Pounding Gale would deal damage to a hero, it deals double that much damage. Oh, baby. So, I mean, best case Ontario, you have a 10 damage attack if they don't block at all. But I feel like that's probably not going to happen. But really, you're just putting a lot of pressure on them. If they draw a bad hand, all you have to do really is play a head jab, play an Open the Center. So all you need for this whole combo is just 1 blue, because you pitch a blue, you basically play head jab for 3. It's gonna probably block it with 1 card, and then Open the Center. It gets Go Again and Dominate. So they're only able to defend with 2. So they'll probably use their whole hand by the end of this play line. So hopefully that's kind of the best case scenario. If they don't, you hit them really hard. So this is, again, not in white border. This is an interesting card. If you like Ninja, this is, what's the harm in grabbing these? I think these are super cheap right now too. And finally, a card and hero that is near and dear to my heart, probably the one that I've played the most with in Flesh and Blood, and that is Dorinthia Ironsong and the Ironsong Determination. I bet you guys are surprised to see this. You're like, don't I have that in white border? No, you don't, because it doesn't exist. It's a black border only in WTR, and honestly, the pull rates are pretty bad. Like I opened maybe 6 or 7 boxes and I've only pulled 1 of these, but they're still dirt cheap. So if you like Dorinthia, you like that play pattern, I think that this is one of the strongest cards that people just kind of take for granted and think is going to be around. But the really important thing about this card is that it says target weapon gains +1 and dominate until the end of your turn for 0. So you can literally play this. You can smack with your Dawnblade, which is, with no counters, it's already going to be up to 4 attack, and dominate. So they're going to have to use equipment. They're going to have to use something else, maybe a defense reaction in their arsenal. And what do you get to do as Dorinthia? You get to just keep swinging. You get to hit them hard. So if you want to pump that up to make sure that it actually hits, you've got, your Razor Reflexes, your Ironsong Determinations, your Refraction Bolters to make sure you can hit them again. And this is important because this is going to keep that +1 and dominate. So on a turn where you play Ironsong Determination, I would say you have a high chance of actually stacking a counter on that turn. Obviously, depending on who you're playing, Icelander could just ruin your whole game plan and fun. But those are my recommendations. those are the cards that I think are really interesting. Those are the ones that I've been looking at. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, let me know what you think. Have a good day and don't work too hard.